started. So today we're going to be simplifying expressions. Our success criteria is for your, that you will simplify expressions using the distributive property and like terms. Okay? So we're going to be learning about the like terms and the distributive property, and then we're going to be combining them. So like terms. Like terms have the exact same variable with the same exponent. Okay, if it's not the same variable and it's not the same exponent, then they are not like terms. You cannot add or subtract them. Okay. So for example, 2x and negative 5x are like terms because the x is exactly the same. Okay. The variable 1 or the exponent 1 is exactly the same. Okay. Negative 8 and 10 are like terms because they do not have a variable. Okay? 3y squared and 8y squared are like terms because they have the same variable and the same exponent. Okay? 7xy and negative xy are like terms because they have the same variable, x and y. Okay? Unlike terms, so here are some unlike terms. So 4x and 4y, they do not have the same variable. They might have the same constant, but the variable is different. So they are not like terms. 9 and 6x are not like terms because this 9 does not have an x. Negative 5x and 5x squared are not like terms because, yes, they have the same variable, but my exponents are different. This one has it's raised to the first power, this one's raised to the second power. 3x squared y and 8xy squared are different because, yes, I do have an x and a y and an x and a y. However, my x is squared here and my y is squared there. Okay? So they're not the same. They have to be exactly the same variable and the exact same exponent. Okay? So we need to find the like terms. Okay, so I have 7x. What value is a like term with 7x? Kelsey? X. Okay, are there any others? No. All right. So those are like terms. What about with 8? Or negative 8, I'm sorry. 6. And 9. Okay? Those are all like terms. Okay? What about with 4y? 8y. And how about x squared? Is there anything that's like term with x squared? No. By itself. And what about 5xy? No, it's by itself. Combining like terms. Terms must be like in order to add and subtract them. So if we're adding two things together, they must be like terms. Okay? And how we do this, we add the coefficient to the number out front, and then we keep the variable the same. Okay? Alright, so what I like to do is to write my like terms next to each other. Okay, so I have a 6x and a negative 3x, or minus 3x. Okay, so I use my x's. Now I'm going to use my y. Plus 5y plus y. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. Okay, what is 6x minus 3x? 3x. Because it's 6 minus 3 and you keep the variable the same. What is 5y plus y? 6y. We always put them in alphabetical order, okay? So x goes before y. Okay, so I have negative 2x plus 5x minus 8y minus 4y. Okay, what is negative 2x plus 5x? 3x. And what is negative 8y minus 4y? Y. Okay. So again, we're ordering these. So 5a minus 2b minus 5b plus 4b plus c. Okay, can I add anything to 5a? No, so it's still going to be 5a. I'm going to kind of drop this down though a little bit. What about negative 2b? Yes, minus 5b would be negative 7b. I'm going to write it small because I would have then add 4b. What is negative 7b plus 4b? Negative 3b. Do I have anything to add to the c? No. So that is my answer. This is negative 7b plus 4b. You can't see that. I just. Right? The distributive property. So it's signified by a number next to parentheses with no sign in between. So there's an example there. 5 parentheses x minus 3 close parentheses. It tells you to multiply the number outside by every term inside. And I'm just giving you a little warning here that you need to watch the signs. Okay? So if you multiply two negatives, you get a positive. If you multiply a negative and a positive, you get a negative. Okay? A minus sign is a negative sign. Okay? It's the same thing. If this was 5, or I'm sorry, x minus 3, this would be a negative 3, okay, if it was minus. Okay, so minus signs and negatives are the same thing, okay? Okay, so I'm going to multiply 4 times x, and I'll get 4x. And then I'll multiply 4 times 3 and get 12, sorry, not x, 12. And that's my answer. You can still distribute if the number is on the back side of our parentheses, okay? So all that it said is if there was a number next to parentheses with no space in between, or no, not space, no sign, thank you, sign in between. So here I'm going to multiply 5 times 2y and get 10y, and 5 times negative 6. Remember, our minus and negative signs are the same thing. Okay, now here I'm multiplying my a. What is a times 7b? It's just, there's no, what's the number up front of a? 1. So 1 times 7 would be 7. And then a times b would be ab. You always put it in alphabetical order. And then the same thing here. There's a 1 out front. 1 times 2 is 2, and a times c would be ac. Okay. Negative 8 times 4n. Negative 32n. Negative 8 times negative 2n. It's two negatives, so it's going to be positive 16n. Yes. I'm sorry? Which one? For this one? What if it was what? Oh, if it was 2, then you multiply the numbers up front. 2 times 7, which you do 14. Yeah, and then 2 times 2, which would be 4, and then it would still have the same variable, a, b, a, c. Does that make sense? When you have a variable and a number, you just multiply the constant in the variable, you multiply the constants, and then you also multiply the variables. Okay? All right. All right, simplifying expressions. So now we're going to be combining both the distributive property and like terms, okay? But you distribute first because we multiply first when we're doing order of operations. Order of operations never goes away. We multiply before we add. So we will do distributive property first, and then we will combine like terms. Remember, we need to watch for the sign of the numbers when you are distributing, okay? Alright, so let's distribute here. So I'm going to have 3 times x, which will be 3x, and 3 times 2, which would be 6. Now I'm going to move around my terms, so I have my like terms next to each other. So I have 3x minus 4x plus 6 plus 8. So what is 3x minus 4x? Negative 1x, but do we put a 1 in front of x? No. So it's just negative x. Okay? And what is 6 plus 8?
14.
Okay, so my answer would be negative x plus 14. Okay, so here I'm distributing. I'm distributing a negative 5. Okay, because a minus sign is the same as a negative. Okay, so negative 5 times 2x would be, and negative 5 times 4 would be negative 20. Okay, now I'm going to rewrite my like terms next to each other. You want your variable first. Okay, so I'm going to have negative 10x plus x plus 2, because this is a positive 2, minus 20. Okay, what is negative 10x plus x? Negative 9x. And what is 2 minus 20?
Negative 18.
Negative 18. Wait. What is this number here? That's in between negative and the... It's a 1. So this is like a negative 1. So we're going to be distributing a negative 1 there. Okay? Or I'm distributing the negative sign. However you want to look at it. Okay, so here I'm going to be multiplying 2 times 3x. What's 2 times 3x? 6x. And 2 times negative 4y. And negative 1 times x, negative x, and negative 1 times negative 2y, plus 2y. Okay, now I'm going to rewrite so that all my like terms are next to each other. Remember, we go in alphabetical order, so x is before y. So I have 6x minus x minus 8y plus 2y. What's 6x minus x? 5x. And what is negative 8y plus 2y? Okie dokie.